what's going on, guys? This is Jared from Upscale Detail Co. So we are on episode 5. I am interviewing Beth Sasser. Beth is the owner of Sasser's Auto Body and Paint.
Yeah.
And, one thing that I would like to say about Beth, she's awesome to work with. We get all of our paint from her when we do rock chip repair. And I just wanted to bring her on the podcast because I feel like, she's been in business for quite some time now, and she has a lot of experience and value that we can give to you guys. First of all, my first question for you is, what is your background in? How did you get into this industry? And we'll go from there.
Well, fun fact, I was a banker before, and that was what my background was. I have a Series 6 investment license,
Wow.
and I went to lunch one day and never went back.
So what prompted that, if you don't mind me asking?
Me going to lunch, I hated what I did. So my husband's father, my father-in-law, has a history in the automotive repair. So he has had a body shop for years. And when my husband lost his job as a banker, he went to work out there full time. So I had to maintain my income at a job I hated to support everybody, and I finally had enough, and I went to lunch, and I showed up at the body shop and said, we got bills to pay, I'm going to learn how to fix cars.
That's awesome. And so your husband, right, he originally started the company, and then you came in, and so what's your primary role in the company?
I really don't know. So my husband and I both, the body shop and the paint store, equally owned, and we've had the body shop for 12 years.
Wow.
And the paint store for 6. But I tend to run the paint store more, and he's more at the body shop. But I guess he is more of the behind the scenes. He makes everything flow and work. He's my numbers guy, the business mind behind it all, and I tend to be more of the person that you see, the everyday person. I don't know what my title would be. The marketing, the face of it, I guess, like you say, a shop mama. I'm the shop mama that runs everything.
That's awesome. Well, one thing I would like to ask, and it's because it kind of goes into the next question I have, is when you guys first started, what drove you guys to get into this industry, and once that happened, what propelled the business to go to where it is now? Because you guys have 2 locations, and we know that as a business owner that takes time, and it takes a lot of customers to get to that point.
Yeah. We were at the body shop, and we were not being treated well. It's when you're running a small business, a lot of times you don't get treated the same as a larger corporation, or you can call and try to order paint, and they're just not going to talk to you. They don't want to help you. They're not going to help tint to match it. And we were having some issues, and we reached out to our supplier for help, and they wouldn't call us back. They pretty much deemed that we were not big enough to make their money that they wanted. And so we decided we would open a paint store. And we opened a paint store within 6 weeks.
That's awesome.
And from there, the only thing that we wanted to do was just treat people kind. We wanted the small businesses to matter as much as the big businesses do. I wanted you starting out here, you matter just as much as someone that's been around for 20 years.
And that's awesome.
And that's what really propelled it, is when you treat people kind and you do the right thing, you build a loyalty, and that's what this entire industry is built on, is networking and loyalty.
Yeah, absolutely. And, remaining humble and, remembering where you started from, because I started out at the back of my truck, and we're still growing, and we're still gonna continue to have goals and stuff. But that's amazing, and it's my daughter.
We don't know where we're gonna end up. I don't know, but we just one day at a time, and we figure it out, and we roll with it.
That's good. So when you guys started the paint shop, what would you say, once you kind of opened it up? I know you had mentioned that you started networking with other people. What could you give to our audience about networking with other business owners, and why it's so important?
It is so important to not cut each other's throat. There is enough work out there.
Yep.
There's a place for everybody and everybody's talent. And what you're good at is probably not something that I'm good at. But learning to utilize that and build each other up,
Yep.
that is what makes a business work. That is referring things that come into the paint store to my customers to send them out, and just building each other up. That is the only way that a business works. It's not all the advertisement, it's not all the branding that's important, but it is legit working with other businesses.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Creating relationships that really matter. I'm not originally from Columbus, so like
you have a hurdle to jump then here.
I do.
I have an upper hand on you. I'm from here.
But I think the great thing that we've created is just a culture, and I've hired people from Columbus, and they've been able to help me with the business. But I think the biggest thing that has helped us is, like you said, creating the relationships. Like me and you have a great relationship. Like I can just call you that, hey, I need some paint,
and I got you,
and you got me. And the same thing with Gary over at Colors on Parade. Like if we need his help with a dent, we just send it out, and he helps us. And same with Blake from Tinted. And it's all about, like you said, coming together as businesses and helping each other out, because there's thousands of cars around town. There's no way that we're going to detail every car.
No, and there's tons of body shops. There's no way that one body shop can fix all the cars. And
no,
like I said, if the ones hit a certain way, that may be somebody's skill set that they excel in, and it may not be mine. And it's knowing when you have to get help and help other people.
I agree. And so leading into the next question, because I like stories, and this one's a good one, I think. What is one project that you and your husband have worked on that it's just a great story, and you can just tell the audience that's listening, like it's humorous, or was it a struggle, or what was it?
Okay, there's lots of these. There's the most fun, and you've probably seen it. There is a front end of a Volkswagen in the paint store. It's a 70 Baja Bug, and it's orange. My youngest son was turning 2, and he wanted a car bed, but I hate those little plastic, little tight cars. Like, I hate them. And I was walking around the shop, and I saw this fiberglass Baja Bug sitting there. And I dragged the hood up to the shop, and they said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to fix this, and we're going to make a car bed out of it." And he's like, "No, we're not." And he's like, "Yes, we are." And so we fixed this Baja Bug, and I learned how to do the fiberglass repair on it, and sanded it, primed it, did it all. Get in there to paint it, and they just set me free. I'd never painted before at this point. This is years ago, and I had never actually painted anything. We get in there, and I'm spraying, and that is just running. Everywhere that I'm painting, it is running on the floor, and I have tears streaming down my face, and I look in the window of the paint booth, and Danny and his dad are laughing at me. They are laughing so hard, and I'm just getting more upset, and I throw the paint gun down and run out, and they're like, "We forgot to tell you that a Volkswagen's the hardest car to paint because it's round, so all the corners, they didn't tell me the pressure on the gun." I had to sand it back off and start over, but I didn't cry the second time.
Well, there's kind of, I guess, a good lesson to that. You did the hardest car, and it probably made you a better person at that.
I don't know. I almost broke all that fiberglass work that I did.
But that's cool, yeah.
It keeps me, again, it goes back to keeping it humble when I have painters that come in, or people that want to paint, or hobbyists, and they come in the store and they're like, "I don't know what to do here." And I'm like, "Well, look, we're all going to fail. You're going to pick the paint gun up, and you're going to run it to the floor the first time probably, but you just have to try again."
Yep, and that's just what life is. Sometimes life gives you lemons, and you just got to keep going.
Roll with it. Like lemons or not, you just roll with it.
Yes, and I mean, I would say that's something that me and Ryan are struggling with right now. PPF, it's tough. And we've been training 7 months on it, and it's still just like, ugh.
It is. Learning curves in this industry, and things are always changing.
Oh, yeah.
You may learn something one way, and then next thing you know, a new car comes out, a new paint comes out, and you have to change it again.
Right, yeah. And I mean, you know this, but manufacturers are moving to water-based clear coat now.
Oh.
Yeah. Like GMC and all them, yeah, and it's super hard to work with.
don't know that I've encountered any of that.
Yeah, it's rough.
I'll have to do some research on that one.
Yeah,
You know more than I do because I haven't heard of that one yet.
Yeah, it's so it's the new paint that's coming in with Toyota and GMC right now, and it's
water-based clear coat.
Yeah, it's not fun.
I gotta go do some research.
Yeah. But basically, like we'll get like new GM paint in, and it's like 2 to 4 mils,
Thin.
super thin. So like if they don't get it protected, it's gone in like maybe 4 years.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So
That's
good to know.
It'll be like those Toyotas that they did all their recalls on. Like was it the 07 to 14s that were white?
Yep.
They were just
Failing.
delaminating.
So one last thing. Well, kind of goes into this question. What's your favorite color?
My favorite
with
color?
paint.
What color do you think is my favorite color?
Black. No?
Black is my favorite, but that is not my favorite paint.
Yellow? I don't know.
I am a charcoal gray lover.
Charcoal
to mix the paint, charcoal gray is my favorite. It is the prettiest mix.
Yeah. David Johnson bought some paint from you guys for the bike, the custom bike. Yeah.
I think that one was brown or.
So it's like yellow and it has matte paint in it, but unfortunately, when we got it, wasn't David's issue, but another detailer got a hold of it, and there was literally fingerprints all over it. So now David has to redo it.
Well, that's okay. I get to mix more fun colors.
Yep.
David brings me the coolest stuff.
Dude, he's a freaking magician with
My favorite, he has
insane.
a friend of his that was building a bike, and I'm not very smart with all these bike terms, but it's a sound bike. And she had this comb that she brought in, and that was the color she wanted. And it was like this lavender color, but nobody can match it. And so I had to literally hand match it, and it is perfect.
That's awesome.
We got it, that color of that comb.
So like, can you kind of explain the chemistry of like paint? I've always been interested in it.
Chemistry of it?
Like,
oh gosh, I'm
like,
not as technical as you.
when you're mixing paint, like, how do you, like, let's say that you have a tri-coat, right? A tri-coat white. How do you get it to that? Like, is it like, do you bring people in? Have you brought people in to teach you how to mix the paints, or?
Well, some of it are software, so I'll have to show you our software. It breaks it down and it tells you what's in these formulas.
Okay.
And so then you hand pour it, but it's not guaranteed to match. That's where you have to learn what colors do and what the paint does, how to offset. So like red kills green, and then blue will make black darker.
Really?
Blue will make white brighter.
I can never do this because I'm colorblind.
Actually, fun fact, Nick at the paint store is colorblind, and he is better at matching colors because he can see the tones and the shades more than the actual color.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Okay. What do you love most about your guys' businesses and why?
I love being the person that gets to determine how well I do. I love the freedom. I don't believe that everybody is made. There are so many different personalities in the world, and not everybody is made to fit in a box and follow the rules. And I love being able to wake up every day and determine what I'm going to accomplish that day. And it's not every day doesn't go my way, but I am the one that gets to determine where I end up.
Yeah, I think that's very, very true in entrepreneurship. Like you're literally in charge of your whole life.
And
if you're not disciplined,
you're an entrepreneur, you were born to be that.
Yeah, and you determine your destiny. You can either sleep in or you can get up early and tackle the day.
Usually. Yeah. Or you can do like I did yesterday and halfway through the day go home and take the Christmas tree down.
I got to do that.
Oh, I couldn't wait to get it down.
Oh yeah, Christmas. But do we have any questions from the audience about Beth's business?
Location, where to find you?
The paint store is in Phoenix City on 280 Bypass. Behind, it used to be Pizza Hut, and the body shop is off of Victory Drive in Columbus.
And how does it feel to be in a so-called male industry as a woman doing body work?
I get asked that a lot, and there's a lot of hurdles to it, but I don't really think about it that way. I run into a very small percentage of males that look down on me because of the industry that I'm in. More of them are more excited to help and teach. And again, it goes back to use their skills for what they're good at and learn from them. So it's hard sometimes, but sometimes it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. Okay, babe.
You're being summoned.
I'm being summoned by my daughter. But I really appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, could you offer one thing of value to our audience if they're wanting to get into entrepreneurship?
Oh, that was a tough one. I should have thought about that one.
Office. Door.
You just can't give up. If you're going to be an entrepreneur and you're going to do it yourself, you cannot give up. You can't take no for an answer. So many doors are going to shut in your face more times than you can count. More are going to shut in your face than are going to open, and you just cannot take no. You have to keep going. You can't stop.
Persistence.
Always, every day, and you have to choose it every single day.
That's awesome. Well, Beth, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. If you guys are interested in being on our podcast, please give us a call at 706-705-7335, or you just want to come by our shop and get to know us. And same with Beth. She has an awesome shop in Phoenix City, and their paint's
It's very colorful.
Yeah, her paint is awesome to work with. We use it on rock chip repair all the time. She actually bought me paint today because we have to do it on the vehicle outside right now. But thank you guys, and thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next week. Have a good one.